Welcome to the kitchen sink. We will chat, we will make you think. You will not want to go to the loo. You could miss a lot if you had that poo. Stay and watch and join in. Yeah.
Brilliant. So brilliant.
Amazing what you can do in 10 minutes, isn't it?
It's that theory of you could clean your house all day or 10 minutes before your mum turns up.
Yeah. I'm a 10-minute kind of girl.
I'm a 10-minute kind of girl too.
I really like that. I'm really pleased with that. Do you like it?
Yeah, it looks like we've matched up our backgrounds again.
Yes. You're just next door, really. You're not in Devon
Yeah.
at all. I really like the pink.
Yeah, if Hugh is watching, do not mention anything to do with Sarah's room, please. I'm begging you, Hugh.
Hugh!
Hugh, where are you?
Where are you, Hugh? And everyone else, for that matter. I'm back on my laptop. I didn't like running it through my phone last week, so I'm back on the laptop this week.
Well, I've had to change rooms because I thought, you know, that one room that I completely decimated to create a studio must be in some sort of lead-lined room. So I'm hoping that our viewers can get in touch and say, Lucy, your words and your face are happening at the same
time. Well, so far so good, to be honest. It looks like it is all happening in real time. So I'm very pleased I can actually chat to you now. So that's cool.
So I bought a little tiny travel dongle. Sorry, I just read a comment from our #1 fan. I was like, Hugh, that's a bit sorry, Ray, that's a bit mean, but I then realised Hugh Janus, that is his pun name, is a massive ass. So it's not that he's attacking him. Factually, he's correct. Yeah, so I've got this little tiny dongle that I use when I'm in my truck. So I thought, as opposed to the indoor Wi-Fi that we pay a lot of money to BT for, I will use a tiny little modem in the corner of the room and see if that one is better. Because I watched my let's get out of the way. I did my competition this week, the competition that's been coming towards me slowly for the last what feels like 6 years. I watched it back, and my skin is still crawling from how bad it was. Luckily, by the time I got around to watching it, I was shit-faced. So that did deaden the experience. But if I had watched that straight away after it, I would have just sat there crying.
Oh, and it's just so annoying, isn't it? It's like all that work, all that effort. And
I feel proud of myself, of what the material I did and the effort I put into and the seriousness that I applied to it. Hey, Poodle Hat. And I did what I could do, and I just find it astonishing that I've made a name for myself online since the lockdown, and it was the word online sucked me over.
Do you know, it wasn't meant to be. That's what I think. I'm all for it's what do you know? I think it was Gilmore Girls I was watching the other day. Something. I mean, that's all I'm watching at the moment is the Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
And I think somebody somewhere said, you know what, you didn't get that because there's something amazing. No, that was it. I was on Twitter today, and Caitlin Moran was saying to someone, look, the reason you didn't, you got fired from that job is because an amazing job is coming around the corner. And I think you can apply that to everything. Everything happens for a reason. It is shitty, and it's such a shame because you're an amazing actor, especially considering how new you are. And, I've seen you smash out the park so many times all over the world. It's their loss. Their loss that they couldn't see through the tech issues.
3 fucking minutes. Just 3 minutes.
God damn it.
That's all I needed.
But can I just say, competitions are bullshit.
Well,
Can I say
hang
that
on. Before
publicly?
we go too deep on that line, there is
Oh,
still a
yes, yes,
wild
yes,
card. There's a
yes.
wild card announcement.
Right.
So
When's
until
that
next
happening?
week, competitions are brilliant.
Okay.
Competitions are brilliant. Next week, if I don't get the wild card, competitions are shit.
Yeah. Okay, we can go on a rant about competitions next week.
Next week.
Yeah, next week. Let's not whatever anything. Let's not hope, try and what's that word when you jinx? Let's not jinx it.
Well, I on the same day that I did the competition, let me see, I can press this button. This happened.
Ooh.
She heard a noise. She was like, ooh. Yeah, so for our podcast listeners, I just played a ridiculously cute video of my new cat, Coco, who is new to me. She's 5 years old. And she has decided that her favourite toy is a small Christmas pudding with a bell in it. It was, it was September. It wasn't like I had to tell her off for doing Christmassy things too early.
Yeah.
We had the old bank holiday. I'll let her
Let's
have
just
it.
agree not to do anything until after Halloween.
She doesn't give two shits. Come on and no, because obviously I wanted to come near the camera. She's over there licking. But yes, I have a mini rant brewing in me.
Right.
I warned you. Okay,
Yes.
so this is my mini rant. I went to Caerphilly yesterday just to see my brother, and we went to Asda's this morning in Caerphilly.
Rock
Now,
and roll.
Caerphilly is in the Aneurin Bevan Health District.
Right.
And they were the worst hit by COVID in the South Wales area, to the point where your amazing club, Rough As, and Joke in the Oak did a co-production charity comedy night to raise money for the Aneurin Bevan board. And for everyone that donated, I'd like to get their money back for them. I wanted to kick off today in Caerphilly because apparently there's a cure.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Who says that?
Yeah. On one aisle, I think I just wanted to run up and get some pasta or something, and there was about 8 people all in that one aisle and not a mask amongst them. So obviously everybody that's exempt must have just had that one moment there. It was ridiculous. Everybody was walking around with no masks in Asda's because apparently the worst hit area, why bother?
Oh no. Tat tat tat. I gotta say, people around here aren't masking up very much either. And I'm in Swansea. Hello, who's this little one?
This is Kitty.
Has Kitty got a name?
Her name's going to be Kitty, as in I'm naming it Kitty, as in Patricia Routledge's character.
Right.
Naming her after Aunt Kitty. Oh, she's so soft. She's like a cygnet's down. Oh, right.
She's good.
Coco kicks off and eats her.
Yeah.
Something, Coco's not. Mum.
Hi, Mum.
Oh, hi, Sarah.
Hello. How are you?
I just had to get this little kitty cat in because
so cute.
She's so new. Yes, do you remember that thing I do with I talk to the internet people?
We don't give her a pass because without your mum, we wouldn't have been able to see the kitten.
Beautiful. Kitty went meow. Coco went. Coco, come here. There's no kittens over here. That's right. You'll be pissed off the rest of the night. But yeah, everybody walking around Caerphilly, absolutely. People that watch the Lucy show know my mother. Know my mother's like with any broadcast. Hello. Are you Lucy's little internet friends?
Yeah. We're having a Lucy Show kitchen sink crossover at the moment.
Crossover. That cat's fucking livid. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, what's it like in Swansea then? People, are they masking up or not masking up? They're not.
They were masking up at the beginning when they first said, right, you can go, if you should wear masks indoors. There was quite a lot of masking, but now barely anything really. And like I know, like I will mask up in general if it's a smaller shop, if I know I'm going to talk to someone face to face. But if it's a bigger shop, like I go to the big Tesco's and I'm like, it's unlikely, I tend not to. Sorry. But no one else does either.
Oh, and if everybody else jumped off a cliff, Sarah.
But I do. It's in the circumstances. Like I don't. Like I saw a couple of people walking down the road in the open air wearing masks, and I'm like, right, unless you're not in each other's bubble, then what's the point of that,
Yeah.
really?
If I'm just walking along the street, no. But the minute I walk into a building, yes,
You mask up, do you?
I do.
Uh,
And to think, I mean, I worked so hard on that charity night because it was for Caerphilly, and we
yeah.
managed to get the amazing Barry Castagnola to that 20-minute set. Even though he doesn't really do Zoom comedy, I felt like going up to everybody and going, excuse me, I raised money for you buggers. Now,
Yeah. Put a mask on.
Put a mask
on. Yeah. I know. Yeah, that is bad, and they should mask up.
It's just because it was in the papers that it was the worst area.
Yeah. I think as well, the government, if it is, because there's that big thing in that, in England, you have to, it's legality. And I've been in England, it's easier because literally everyone, and they have got security, like the shopping centre I went to, they had security at the door saying, put your mask on.
Yeah.
So I think that's better than this wishy-washy, wear one if you want, don't wear one if, wear one if you're somewhere, because it's down to us then to decide. And as human beings are going to look at other human beings and follow the crowd. Everyone does.
Yeah.
I'm not making excuses for me. I'm just saying in general, if lots of people have a mask on, if there's no question, if it's all taken out and gone, right, you're wearing one if you want to get in a shop, I think that's much better than giving us a choice. Because given the choice, I'm like, well, what's everyone else doing? And also,
I remember before it was made mandatory, I put it on. There's quite a small shop around here, and they've been open the whole time, little co-op. And I had a little panic attack when I went in there because everybody was just up in each other's faces walking past. Yeah. And I went on the forum and I just said, would people consider wearing masks if the co-op asked them to? Not that it's compulsory, but if that shop asked, because it gets so busy and it's only small. And bloody hell, these women came out with the word, you can't tell me what to do. And then this one bint said, well, I've got masks, I'm just waiting for it to be compulsory.
Well, that's a bit stupid as well. I do think, I mean, it might be a bit more shocking to you because you're normally in England where it is compulsory, and it's not compulsory in Wales.
I find that absolutely mind-blowing. We were allowed to go places and do things, and you were like, you can't leave 3 miles of your house or whatever.
Oh, yeah. But I have to think, though, as well, is that the minute people started wearing masks, they think they can get into your personal space.
Yeah.
So, swings and roundabouts, they think it's okay. They think they're protected. They're not. They don't realise that by wearing a mask, you're actually protecting other people. So I don't know. I just think, well, Wales has got the lowest, or a low infection rate.
Now. Now. But enough with the disease. Let me live vicariously through the comedy of Sarah Bridgman. Come on, love. Tell me all about it.
About a gig outdoors. Woo! Yay! Oh, it was lovely. So I did block comedy in the park socially distanced last Sunday evening. And it started at 6, finished at 8-ish. It was meant to finish at 8, finished around 15:15. Oh, it was so much fun. It was set up really well. Essilft Sears MC'd it. Was it, say again?
Was it a Vix gig? Was it with Vix Layton?
Vix Layton was there. So I met Vix. I said hello to Vix, and it was so nice to see people with legs and everything, you know. And she's lovely in real life. She's in real life. This is real life, but you know what I mean. Out and about. She's so lovely. We were both like, "Hey, it's so nice to see you." And Sil hosted, and she did a brilliant job. Who was on? Oh, Dan Thomas was on first again. Brilliant. It is weird performing again. I just went. The day before, I was like, "Yeah, it's gonna be great." Blah blah blah. Very confident, and then on the day the nerves kicked in again. I'm like, oh, for God's sakes, I struggle with nerves, and then I just go crazy. Where I get struggle with nerves is having to stick to a script. I don't like having to stick to it. I like having just see, look, anything could happen. So while I was there, I thought, I'm just going to sing a song because I like that calms me down. Chatting to the audience, it calms me down. So I got the audience to sing my family quiz song. And, and ask them about their family quizzes and stuff like that. And so we all sang the family quiz song, and I was able to go into my material then. It was so much fun. It was really great. I loved it. Everyone else was like, I'm doing my material and being brilliant. And I'm like, oh, look what's happening. Oh, there's a good spot to have a snog in the park, and it was really good fun. I loved it. I just my next gig now is with you, if it goes ahead, but it looks like it's all up in the air. Who knows? So it looks like my next official gig is on the 26th of October in Bristol, in Smoke and Mirrors in Bristol. That's my next actual gig. Have you applied for that one yet, Lucy?
No, I haven't. You need to send me the details. Who's Smoke and Mirrors with? Is that Alex?
Nope. They got a change of it was on Fanny Pack, I think, so check that out. But it's Danielle Johns and Jesse Nixon are now running it. So they've got new people running the booking system, which is fantastic. But so give them a shout. So mine's 26th of October. I'm going to be up there with Ali Hancock. So if you can get up there, we can meet then, because it might not be happening.
It'd be lovely to meet you.
It'd be lovely to see you in real life, IRL, But that gig on
with my legs and everything.
Yeah. I do move as well. But it was what was really nice was just seeing everyone. A few acts came along that weren't on that night. Hales, that runs Barbie Comedy, was there. Alex Perks and Paul Hilliard that run their comedy night. I'm going to say the wrong name. I can't remember the name of it. Ray, what's the name of Paul Hilliard's and Alex Perks' night? But it was, yeah. But Ray saying, Sarah, this is Lucy. Lucy, this is Sarah.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Hello, nice to meet you. How are you? But, so they were there. Regression comedy. That's it. Sorry, guys. So it was just lovely to see that we were all chatting about everything that's been going on, because I don't want to talk about a certain massive thing that's happened in the local area. Let's not talk about that, but people in the know. It's a whole short article about it. You can find that out. So we all having a bit of a, oh my God, chat about that. But no, it's just lovely to see everyone. It was lovely to perform. And I cannot wait for the next one. It was great. It was really great. Have you got any live gigs coming up, Lucy? Because they seem to be coming back slowly.
All I've got so far is the date that keeps moving.
Oh yeah, I've given up now. I have
got a rather important gig tomorrow at 10:30 in the form of a job interview for a bar job.
Ooh, good luck.
When I go there, if I get that, and they give me my dates of which days a week they work, then I can start looking at gigs, because I'll have to do the pouring drinks instead of performing on stage. So it's a case of I can't really dive into booking until I know my availabilities. But it's just nice to see. I mean, in America, I completely understand that they're not going back yet, due to the fact that their rate is
astronomical, isn't it?
going straight up. I mean, the club that we're huge in Indiana, I don't think they're gonna be going back anytime soon. No, I don't think there'll be any Christmas gigs there or anything. And you understand that with here, we can do it. And it's funny, I've always looked at that gig online. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Ray, if it does, I'm buggered. I'm shit at cleaning. No, I can do it for money to a certain level, but if you were to employ me simply as a cleaner, I may as well hand myself my P45. Like, if you tell me to clean a bar down, or to clean the pumps down, or to clean a fridge out, or something like that, I can do that. But if you just gave me the keys to a house and said, Lucy, go and clean that house.
There's a lot of cleaning work. If you were applying for a cleaner, a lot of it is office work, offices, which are quite easy, really straightforward. I think if you're cleaning someone's house every week, it's only dusting in the end, isn't it? But
I was a cleaner when I was 15. In fact, I was cleaning an office the day the lady died.
Oh my God!
I remember it well.
Everyone knows where they were when Lady died.
Everyone knows where they were.
Say that quick 3 times. Lady died.
Lady died.
Oh, Lady died.
Oh no, we shouldn't joke. It's a birthday.
Too soon. It's only like 30 years ago.
I think it's Dan Thomas's birthday today, or was it yesterday?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not on Facebook much anymore. I know it's Nathan Webb's birthday today, and it's his 40th.
And it's Nathan Webb.
Yeah, it's his 40th birthday today. So, happy birthday to you.
So I'm excited about the job interview I've got tomorrow. Once I get that, because I've applied for another job in the village. And they're taking ages to get back in touch with me. And in that meantime, the bar job has got in touch with me. So I need to try and make sure that if I do get the times set up, that I pick them that they can suit the other. Because I could end up with 2 jobs, which is kind of needed.
Yeah.
Hello, James Wilson.
Hi, James.
So I could end up with 2 jobs. So I don't know.
Well, that'd be amazing. It's nice to have 2 jobs rather than no jobs, isn't it?
Yes, but I mean, I would have loved it if I'd had the jobs during the lockdown and I could do the gigs now.
I must be a cleaner, and James Wilson for the podcast says cleaners have scruffy houses usually. I must have been a cleaner in a former life then, because my house is a mess. I try hard though.
I do clean. I'm not a filth monster. It's just a case of, if you leave me unattended and go, right, clean this entire area, I'd be like, what's the bare minimum I can achieve?
It's just boring. I like cleaning when you can put a podcast on, though, or you can put an album that you really like listening to, and then it goes no problem. But cleaning is boring.
Yeah.
Although there is a real sense of satisfaction if somewhere's minging and then you clean it, and so I do quite like potting around the kitchen or the living room. I'm like, right, I'm doing it today, and it's all I quite like that. It's a real nice thing to do. Can I just I'd like to bring something up as well before our guest comes on. This is my rant. It's not much of a rant-esque. Okay. Have you ever been on a diet, Lucy?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Isn't specific diet food that they make for people trying to lose weight, isn't it always a bit shit compared to normal food? Rice cakes. I never in my life. Yeah. I never wanted to eat a rice cake in my life. I'm just like, that it's like polystyrene, dieting's hard enough as it is without trying to make us literally eat, the inside of a sofa or something. But I found a rice cake. Not that I'm on a diet, I'm on a health food journey. £21 gone so far. But can I just add, and I'm not advertising here, although I would very much welcome a deal from Marks and Spencer's. Marks and Spencer's rice cakes with a bit of chocolate on. Whoa, game changer. These ones are gorgeous. I don't know what their chocolate's made of, but it's really nice. And they've got a caramel one as well. Although the caramel one has got loads of sweetener in it, and I know it because let's just say my system is very cleaned out as of earlier today. Oh, and I got a bit more. Oh, I wonder my half one went. These are rice cakes with caramel on. They're stunning.
If you want to laugh at something with sweeteners in it, if you go onto Amazon and look up sugar-free gummy bears, the comment section is amazing. Yeah. So you eat some sugar-free gummy bears, and you're basically creating an IED in your back pocket. And people go on there and they buy these sugar-free gummy bears only to give in work. They take them to work knowing that they are going to cause a to-do.
Yeah. Little pants explosion, and not in a good way.
It's like lying on the floor after 10 gummy bears, writhing in pain as Satan spikes my arm.
Satan's hot lava is erupting from your chocolate starfish.
Work and nothing happened.
Well, I tell you what, anyone on Slimming World or Weight Watchers who had a bit of a week of it, eat one of these the day before, you'll be fine. You will lose that half a pound. Trust me. It's really nice though. I only bought that up so I could eat online. I'm like, I could do with my caramel rice cake right now.
James Wilson's written Ryvitas are all right with tuna. I know there are Ryvitas that come with fruit and honey in them. I don't mind.
I quite like a Ryvita actually. Yeah,
I like some aggressive Garibaldi. I don't mind those.
Yeah, I quite like a Ryvita. They've got all sorts of Ryvitas now, haven't they?
Oh yeah.
They go with honey and raisins in.
The Ryvita one does taste best, sort of covered in 3 inches of Philadelphia.
With a bit of strawberry jam on top.
It does sort of defeat the object.
When you take a bite of that and you can see your teeth marks in the Philadelphia, you're like, you're going to have your Weight Watchers woman over your shoulder going, are you sure that's only 3 points? I think that's about 10 points.
I've seen a YouTube video as well where a woman sort of gets like a Big Mac or some burger, really big burger, and she sort of inhales the smell, and as soon as she goes to exhale, she bites into an apple. So she's inhaling the burger and then eating the apple, inhaling the burger and eating the apple. And all I'm thinking, what's she going to do with that burger at the end? She's not going to throw that away, is she?
She's probably going to make love to it by the sound of it. Oh my God. Because that's not troubling food behaviour at all. That's not addictive behaviour. Swap burger for heroin, we'd all be worried about it, wouldn't we? We'd be like, maybe you need to go and see someone about that. That's not all right. That's weird. Yeah, chomping on a rice cake.
I remember we tried the Atkins diet. And because of that, you were allowed like 1 or 2 cubes of dark chocolate. And it was from that I actually got into dark chocolate.
Yeah.
Because when you don't have anything, and then you just have like a few little squares of it, you actually savour the bloody taste. So it was sort of like wine tasting, if anything, just having those small cubes.
Do you know what I like? I like a cup of coffee and I dip my cube or square of dark chocolate and just suck on it. It's really nice. I think that line alone is worth a few quid and coffee, don't you? We haven't done our bucket speech yet. We were going to do our bucket speech.
Oh yeah.
Yes, what's your favourite dark chocolate then, Lucy?
My favourite dark chocolate would have to be quite a high one, actually. It's I think it's like a Lindt or something like a 70%.
It's
I
got to be
do. I
70% because higher is rank. That's just wrong.
Yeah.
Any higher, any
There's
lower,
a
it's not really.
guy. There's a guy around here called Willy Wonka's Chocolate. And he makes cooking chocolate. And if you don't realise you're about to bite into cooking chocolate, oh, your mouth
Uh,
is like, why? Why have you done
yeah.
this to
Oh my
me?
God, my mum used to make these amazing cakes growing up, and she used cooking chocolate, which is the devil's food. It's disgusting. It's just made basically fat, and they wave a chocolate bar over it for the chocolate taste. It's disgusting. It should be made illegal, actually. I don't know why would they use cooking chocolate. And she always said, "Oh, it's cheaper than actual chocolate, but probably by about 3p. Let's face it." Little hint for you
Yeah, I
then,
mean,
dark chocolate fans.
it's almost like when people sort of say, oh, I'm on a diet, I'll have a gin and diet tonic. Really? Those 30 calories, what's going to push you over the wall today?
Yeah. I love it. You know, like in the slimming clubs, though, when they're like, I don't know what happened, Sandra, and I was brilliant all week. And I did have a takeaway on Saturday, but I was great the rest of the time. And I'm like, I bet you weren't. I bet you were having bits and pieces all bloody. It's the denial, isn't it? It's when people are in absolute denial, and myself included. Look at me. I won't, this is it. This is going to put me over the edge next week. I mean, I don't know what happened. I was eating rice cakes, ignoring the fact that they are covered in chocolate. Dark chocolate, my favourite is Tesco's Own. It's brilliant. It's only £1 because Lindt is very expensive. It's lush, but it's really expensive. So,
When I was in Switzerland, I went to the services to get my mum some chocolate, and I looked at the whole wall, and you could get everything in Tesco's. I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, for half the price.
Everywhere I went.
When you go abroad, did you always bring back a Toblerone? I don't know what the Toblerones, they
No.
taste different.
I do bring my mum back chocolates, and I went into one place, and we were in Spain, just somewhere just close to the border with Portugal. And I spent about 30 quid on these huge chocolate bars for my mum, all hand like artisan stuff.
Yeah.
She had one, even though there were 3 different ones. She had one, didn't like it, and she's like, I'm the other 2 because the others are shit. Right, how about you give it a try? Give it a try, mum.
I spent money on that. Shove it in your gob. You better eat it.
Hold your face down. Just eat the fucking. Before Luke turned up, I just want to give a little shout out to if you go to jokepit.com and type in the kitchen sink, you will find our fan page, and that is where you can donate and buy us a virtual cuppa, and the donation is of your own volition, and you can help support our tech fees because. Believe it or not, this is the first time my tech's been really good. but even my shit tech costs money.
Yeah. Yes, it would be quite nice not to have to cost us money to deliver this amazing content for you. If everybody that watched it gave us £1 each, that'd probably cover it, wouldn't it? That'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Or £20 a year. Don't
give us. You don't feel like you only have to give us £1. No. You put that desk place in where you should do it. I've been to a supermarket in America, and I've been to the chocolate aisle, and I felt diabetic. Diabetic standing in that aisle. I was just like, there was just bells and whistles and shiny stuff everywhere. And my mum used to have a sweet shop when I was little, and I think that's why I don't have a sweet tooth. I mean, if you're smuggling a quiche, I will bite your hand off.
I smuggle a quiche in my belly. You won't want to eat that.
Are you quiche smuggler? I just realised our guest has turned up in the dining room as I shout quiche smuggler at you.
He's going to come on and what the hell? Yeah.
Right, so with no further ado, we are going to drag him out of the dining room and bring him into the kitchen. It's our local boy done good. It's MC
Hi, Luke.
All right. You all right?
Hello. Thanks so much for coming on the kitchen sink.
No worries. Your place looks really nice. I've had to do this in the garage because I've got kids and it's their bedtime soon. So I've had to do this in the garage. There's a
thanks so
garage
much.
door. Very nice.
It looks very similar to the Stu Goldsmith man cave shed that he's got. So you can say you're going for that. You can go for Stu Goldsmith.
Yeah, man cave. Yeah, definitely.
So how's lockdown been treating you then, Luke? How many kids have you got? What kind of ages are they? And are you so ready for them to go back to school?
Yeah, we got 2 kids, and there's 9 and 4, Imogen and Isla. And actually, lockdown's been good. I've been able to like socialise with them a bit more and see them, which is great. Because normally I work full time and then I literally rush in and I'm out, gigging full time. So yeah, normally I don't see them. So yeah, it's been nice to reconnect, really.
Oh, fab. Oh, that's nice. Because my friend's got 2 little ones and she's like, before they were allowed to go back, they're a bit younger though. One's 4 and one's like literally a few months old when lockdown started. So she's like, oh my God, tearing her hair out. But so very, very ready for the little one to go to school now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's nice though. It's nice to look, especially 9's a nice age, isn't it?
Yeah, she's cool. She's really sound. She's always been sound, actually. She's right laugh. But the 4-year-old, it's quite funny because most parents, like, I think when it comes to this time of year and their 4-year-old's about to start school, they all get emotional, like, and they take pictures like, we're so sad that Tabitha's off to school now. But because we've been in lockdown and stuck with them, it's just like, get out.
They're like, but my lunch. And kicking the lunch out the door.
Uniform? No, I don't. Just get away.
But just at the beginning of lockdown, everybody was like, I'm taking my baby out of school. It's not safe.
Yeah.
And now it's like TikTok is like, get in the car.
Yeah.
You're going to school.
What about a face mask? Put a blanket on them.
I think sales of alcohol are going to rise massively ready for the first day of school. They're like, they're gone.
Well, I don't know if you guys got this, because you live near me, don't you, Lucy? But did you recently get a glass bin?
Glass bin?
Well, see, this is what's happened. The world
right. We recycle in Devon.
Look, we got one of these.
Oh my God!
Because that's how much we're all drinking now.
Oh, a glass bin.
I thought you meant like Cinderella in the glass.
I mean,
I honestly thought it was a bin made of glass.
That was so cool. We thought it was a glass bin. Yeah.
Like, that's posh down in Devon with a bin.
Yeah, the local council actually had it crafted by Darlington Crystal. It's absolutely lovely.
Glass bins on you, they'd be made into shivs as soon as you look at them. Bloody hell.
I'm not sure the original comedian, but I know that Scott Bennett has done this joke. Whereas at the beginning of lockdown, before lockdown, sorry, you were sort of like, people would walk past you recycling, you'd be like, oh, we had a party. That's not just my personal consumption. And then during lockdown, you were like, that is just my personal consumption. We didn't have a party.
Yeah. Actually, that was a meme for a little while, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's like the only time people aren't judging you at the checkout. It's like during lockdown. It's like, yeah, you haven't got enough booze, if anything.
In my village, bin night, people just start walking around the village and they're that. Give it the old judge.
I hate that when I'm shopping, because I used to go to the gym a lot, and then you'd see people from the gym and instantly be like, oh man, I need to hide these cakes and pizzas and everything. And now it's just out of alcohol, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have like a limit of how many bins you have in Devon? Are you allowed like as many bins as you like, as many bin bags?
We were just black bin for ages, weren't we? There was no recycling, and then suddenly it's all recycling now. We've got a green bin for the garden stuff. You can't just chuck that in someone else's garden now.
You got to pay for that.
Say again.
You got to pay for your garden waste separately.
£38 a year. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I rent my house, and basically when we rented it, they were like, now listen, dear, the woman that lived here before loved her garden, and we just want you to keep the magic alive. And of course, I agreed. And now I've got this, like, you know, fine hedges to prune and like mowing lawns, and I had to go buy a proper mower. Anyway, I pay my £38 a year because I got roped into this. So
yeah.
We also have a little matrix that you need a degree to understand. And like every Tuesday, it's like, is it bins or just like some bins? Like, because it's like maybe the garden waste and the food, or it could be, and you're standing there with this matrix going, some fucker understands this, but it's not me.
I always forget the recycling bin, and then I came to this theory that, you know, when you're a kid and if the ice cream man came round and didn't have that music, you would miss the ice cream man, and that would be it. You go. I think that we should have an adult version for the recycle man. Like when he's driving around in his van, it should be like dunga bunga dunga dunga dunga, and you're like, oh God, the recycling man's here! Everyone get excited and queuing up, but your mum's like, don't hear him because he's a weirdo.
I do my Lucy show on a Tuesday, which is bin day. So as soon as we've done the Lucy show, we take everything down, like all the props and stuff. We go and do the bins. And I made a joke about it on my show, and I got a friend from the village that was watching it, and she was going, "Oh, isn't it weird? We're only a few miles, only about half a mile away from each other, but we must have different bin days." And then she was like, "What day is it? Tuesday." Shit, Mum! I like it. It was a service.
Amazing.
Well, Tuesday, and this is intensely boring, but I will say it. I forgot my green bins like a month ago, so they're piling up in the kitchen. Because talking about the glass bin, we put glass in a separate green bag in Swansea. So you've got a green bag for glass, a green bag for cardboard. You know, like whatever they decide cardboard is these days. And I missed it, so I was determined not to miss it. And then forgot. And then I kind of woke up to the sound of a truck outside. I was like, yes, like getting out of bed. And I was like, this is shit. It's only 6 a.m. We're allowed to put out at 7 a.m. Like rush downstairs. And this van, nothing to do with recycling at all. But I was awake.
Just some random people just launching rubbish at me in your 90s. I didn't think I made that much noise. Sorry.
I was looking forward to seeing Luke.
Why?
I was expecting you to be down the Beam Bridge t'other day.
Oh, yeah.
And it was going to be my first comedy gig out. It was comedy in the car park, Wellington Comedy Night. And it's through Wellington Comedy Night that I met Luke. And I was really excited to see comedy back at the Beam Bridge. But was it tickets or weather or planning or license?
Ticket sales were all right. Basically, they thought it was going to thunder and lightning and whatever. And so I put a message out to the guests saying, look, we've only sold, I think we sold 40 tickets, but that was enough to pay me and the other acts like a decent wedge. So I was like, oh, we'll go ahead with the show, but we'll just move it indoors and cap it at 40 so we can social distance. And then the minute that went out, I was just getting emails saying, I'm not going indoors. I work with people that have that are COVID danger people. I don't know what they call them. And they were old. Oh, I work with old people. Anyway, and I was like, let's just cancel the show because it's not going to be worth it. There's too many people dropping out. But I had an absolute blinding result. So I cancelled the show on the Thursday. I was gutted because it was my second gig back. I had one in the garden, not my garden, but someone's beer garden the night before. And it was horrible. It was a good gig, but I just didn't do great. And then so I thought, Wellington will be good. Then Wellington cancelled, so I'm like gutted. And then literally Friday afternoon, the day of that gig, I get a call from Nick Page, who's a fantastic comedian, isn't he? And he was like, oh, do you fancy emceeing this show? You get paid to MC both shows, and it's in Ilfracombe, literally 30 minutes from my house. I was like, oh my God, yes.
I can see Ilfracombe from my house on a good day. Oh, cool.
Well, So she can see Ilfracombe from her house, but there's a very
across the
very
water, yeah.
water between us.
We have a boat that goes over.
So it was the Landmark Theatre in Ilfracombe, wasn't it? It's quite a big venue.
Yeah.
So how many did they have in there? Did they really?
Oh, mate, I'm telling you now, that place was unreal. So it holds 700. And the first show we did, there were 16 people in. And I know. And then the second show, there was 39. And I'll tell you what, you might think you don't want to perform to 39 people in a 700-seater theatre. But when you've just done 16 people for 2 hours, you will love 39. You will do 39 like you are live at the Apollo.
So what we're telling bookers and promoters is do the lower your standard gig for the acts.
Yeah.
Have like one guy and a dog.
A little taster gig, and then bam, 39 people. Simon Brodkin was headlining as well. He was incredible.
Yes, I saw.
Yeah, he's so good. I've only ever seen him as Lee Nelson. And actually, his stand-up is fairly similar to Lee Nelson anyway. But yeah, it was real good.
Yes, because he's a doctor, and if a doctor's willing to reform,
exactly. What's the background there? Whose kitchen is this?
That's my kitchen.
Is that your kitchen?
My kitchen.
Very liquid, very traditional. I like that. It's very nice. Orange. Are those orange washing up gloves, or have you?
They're marigolds.
Are they overused? You have a curry?
They do look a bit salad fingers. But we were using a picture of a kitchen sink off the internet. I suddenly realised that we could be up for copyright, when we make it big. So I was like, quickly.
Some people like Marion from the middle of nowhere, like, what's my bloody kitchen doing on there? What's the syringe in the background? What are we doing here?
That's the cat medicine syringe, and I didn't realise.
Yeah, right.
The old cat syringe routine, is it? Oh, yeah. Heroin over there. That's the cat.
She's a booker for the meth.
Oh, the cat loves smack. He's really.
Walking up to me with a little cat what are they called, cat collar round the sleeve.
Yeah. Moggy next door's like, oh, that cat's proper mental.
Yeah.
Hear the little bell going.
How does she work the lighter? I trimmed her big nail. Yeah, trim that one. She can do a lighter lovely. Sorry.
Little jingle of my cat's hitting up again.
You could have hit the syringe, but you didn't. You give it graceful, like oldie kitchen / train spotting.
Yeah. That's a film I'd watch, train spotting with cats. For sure.
Oh, can you imagine that? When the
film Cats might have been a bit better if there'd been a bit of
You really want to do an episode of Train Spotting? Go down Clumpton, because they were promised a train station bloody years ago. Local gag.
I really? I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Clumpton comes under Caris's domain, doesn't she? You two, you sort of have cross border. You've got one MC doing that bit and one MC doing that bit.
She dominates the MC world, I think. She's a very good MC. She does all over, doesn't she? Yeah, she does well. Yeah. She had a lot for Luke and when we started out.
Well, that segues. I've prepped Luke that although we talk about anything and everything, I did want to raise one thing. So hang on, meow meow is obviously the choice for cats. We're getting the messages in now. Instead of choose life, it's choose whiskers. Cat medicine, didn't know cats like ketamine. They're a bugger for Metcalf.
Oh, nice. Ketamine's great for festivals.
But we had Barbara, and we've had lots of guests. We've been very lucky with the guests we've had. So we've had Barbara Nice on this show. And we've also had Caris Nelms, and now we've got yourself. And when we were talking to Barbara Nice, she informed us in the olden days, you'd have a pro bill, and you would put an open spot in the middle so that the professionals could hand the baton and teach the ways to the new starts.
Yeah.
And now saying put an open spot on your pro bill to some bookers or promoters makes them literally cough up bile.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. Whereas Luke and Keris let me do 5 minutes at their night, and I'm blown away. I was like, that's amazing. And then to think that's how it used to be, it's like, oh.
Well, it wasn't that long ago, really, I don't think. So when I started out, I know there's like an open mic scene. There a lot of people do open mic for a couple of years, and then they slowly get into gigs. I did 3 open mics in London just to have a go at comedy. I'd never done it before, so I thought I'll have a quick go. Did 3 open mics, and then that was it. I went into a competition, did the semi-finals and the finals of the competition, and then straight away started doing open spots on Pro Bills, just because there was nowhere around here for me to do open mic. And so I just started contacting venues, and Mirth Control mainly. Mirth Control gave me hundreds of gigs around like the Southwest, you know, Plymouth, Tavistock, you know, Tiverton. Like the Comedy Hall in Tiverton gave me an open spot actually when I first started out. I was on with Craig Campbell and who else? Rob Deering. And I died so hard. It was the worst. I mean, one, I had to follow Craig Campbell, and then, you know, you die so hard, and then you think maybe it's the room. And then Rob Deering goes on and smashes the life out of you. You go, oh, and that is me. It's definitely me. So, yeah, I just went and did that because there's nowhere to gig round here, open mic-wise. I just went straight onto the normal, like, up-and-coming circuit. And then you stay, don't you, and watch the other acts and see how they deliver and how they are on stage. And I used to like watching the MC because, you know, that's something I was interested in. So I'd watch how they interact with the crowd and just how they segue jokes in and how they work the room. Keris Nelms is a really good MC to watch. Oh. Very good at, you know, I could pretty much tell you her set for MCing, but it's not just about what she does there. It's about how she gets that into the set. So anyone can just go up there and try and MC, but what she will do is she will pick on a couple and then she will turn material from her set onto that couple. And the audience will think it's completely off the cuff and think it's genius. But the reality is we know as comedians that what we've done there is just work the room. We've made it go the way we want it to go and then put that bit of material. And Keris Nelms is great at that. She's a good MC.
Yeah. She's. Do you think that doing it that way has helped you develop quicker? Because I know, like, you know, I've run Rough As, as Ray keeps saying everywhere, RAP Rough As, it might come back. But but there are people that come to it's a new act, new material night. It's aimed at people. I just want to do because when I started, it's really hard. And some places that you go to, like there was one place in London I went to Turn Deaf, and the MC, you know, one of those ones where you have like 15 acts on all doing 5 minutes, and the guy running it was just so rude and so like, oh, you're a turn, you. And I had a guitar at the time. He's like, you can't have that on stage. He's just so rude and stuff.
Really?
Oh yeah, and he had that quite a lot. And I just thought, right, I would like somewhere where it's quite welcoming, particularly to the people that we're missing on the scene, like women, you know. But everyone's welcome. But I mean, this was 5 years ago, so it's worse than it is now. But yeah, I think some people do end up staying. They enjoy it, and it becomes a bit of a hobby. But I do wonder, I think, you should get out there as soon as you can, really, for all those reasons that you gave. Do you think it's been a benefit not being able to like lean on the new act, new material nights?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest benefits of doing it around the Southwest was that quite often you would see the same audience. So once I'd done my 5 minutes that I got together, and I'd done Taunton and Plymouth and Tiverton and Clumpton and all these different places, you know, just to go back, I would need another 5 minutes. So then you're like, oh man, so write another 5 minutes. So you write another 5, but then straight away you're giving yourself a 10 because then you can do middle spots. So then you start contacting people saying, can I do a middle spot? I've got a 10. So then you start getting 10 spots. And then you have to write another 5 to do the other one. Suddenly you got a 15. So then you're like, oh, can I do a paid middle? I've got 15 now. And you're getting like 20 quid, 30 quid. And I think that's what motivated me. It was like, oh, that can pay my fuel. You know, if I can get that together, I'm paying for fuel now and I can go to these different places. I think if you can just go to an open mic and do the same 5 minutes every week, I mean, it will get very good because you will really own that 5 minutes. But there's a risk you might not grow. You might stay stagnant and just have 5 minutes and that's it. So yeah, I think it helped me quickly develop. You know, I've got about an hour of material that I can dip into if the room's not right for what I'm talking about, or if I'm emceeing and I need to dip into something. And then I've got my solid 40-minute set now, which taken ages to develop. And even now I have to develop it. If I look at videos from, say, a year ago, well, not a year ago because we've been out of business, maybe versus like 6 months ago, I'd be really embarrassed about that video, even though the same material was there. It's developed differently. There's different punchlines. I'm pausing different places, and constantly developing that set. So yeah, I think it does help to gig round here and have those gigs and those opportunities to be in front of a proper audience as well, not people that are coming for free, don't really care what you're doing, or they're there just to see their mate and then they're going to bugger off, and you end up with like 5 people at the end of the night. They're not so fun.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Once I finished my course, I hit every single event I could possibly get my hands on before lockdown. I rang every hen house, dog house. I was like, can I manage to wangle my way on? And weirdly enough, people off my course that were in London who are drowning in opportunities, they were like, oh, I haven't really done anything yet. And there's me in my car up and down the M5, driving along for me 5 minutes. And I think maybe it makes us hungrier that we have to go look.
I think like anything, you've got to want it, haven't you? If you get a rubbish gig and you're dying your ass, you've got to be able to get up the next day and want to go and have a go at it again and try. No one, very rare people just are brilliant at comedians straight away. And so I think, you really do have to have that drive. And there's sometimes you hear of like other acts that could get quite bitter and say, oh, they're so lucky they got this opportunity. But luck can only get you so far. And then you really do need to work harder. If I worked harder, there'd be more opportunities for me. But because I am in Devon and not pushing myself to go to like London or Manchester or, much bigger comedy clubs in the city, I haven't progressed as quickly as maybe I would like. But that's simply because I'm pretty chilled and, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. But, if I wanted to and to push a bit harder, maybe I could go full time. But and be, look what I look at as going, oh, look at that, they're really doing it. Whereas I still think I'm playing at it at the moment.
That's interesting because you're such a busy guy. You've got a full-time job, you've got kids, they're a full-time job in themselves, and I'm single, I live alone, and I find it knackering. I used to I got a full-time job, but I used to, you know what it's like when especially in the early days, and you finish work at whatever time, 5 o'clock, you're straight out, somebody's picking you up, you're going up to Birmingham or somewhere, so you're in the car for like 4 hours, you do your 5 minutes at the Hollybush or wherever, and then you're back in the car, and then they want to go for a blinking burger somewhere, so that's like another 40 minutes out the car, and you're like, please, can we just go home, get home at 4 a.m, and then you're up at 6 a.m. for work the next day. And I think I got to year 5 and I went, I can't do that anymore. It's so much fun. I love it. And I really love the car journeys. But oh my God, it is knackering. So to do that with kids as well, I don't know how anyone does it really.
Before I got ill, I was surprised. Now, when I got ill in 2018, and I got like a rare condition called Ramsay-Hunt syndrome. And it made my face drop on one side. And it's only came back to life within about 3 months of it happening, but I still have like constant nerve pain, and that really took the energy out of me. And sometimes I look back and I go, how did I do all that stuff? Because before that happened, so like 2014, 15, 16 and 2017, I used to run all the time. So I'd get up at say 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning, go for like a 2-3 mile run pretty much, every other day. Then I'd work all day. Then I'd come home and then write material in the evening. And then on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I would gig. And I would still get up and run and do all these things. I did it for years. And now, after being ill, and I look back and I go, like, sometimes I get up at like 8 and I'm like, this is too much. It's probably already.
I felt the same. With lockdown, I felt the same, because up till then I knew I was busy. Like, all my friends were like, I don't know how you do it. How are you so busy? How are you doing so much stuff? And I was like, I'm fine. I think this is all right. And then lockdown happened, and I was like, number one, I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to my brain's gonna start thinking about stuff. But on the other hand, I was like, oh my God, I'm really relieved. It's a relief to have this stop, and you got a better quality of life, to be honest. I'm not keen for it to go go back as crazy as it was before. Anyway, it's about working smarter rather than harder, isn't it? Sorry.
No, you're right. No, you are right. I used to run gigs. Well, I still run gigs. At one point I had 10 gigs I used to run all over the place. Now I've got Wellington, Plymouth, Barnstable. What else have we got? Ross-on-Wye, Gloucester. There was 2 others. One near Bristol and another one. So what's that?
Oh my God. What's like 10?
So yeah, but I used to do them on runs. So I'd book all the acts and I'd book them. Near Minehead, I've got another one there. So I'd book them on like a 3 or 4 day run. So it'd be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'd get them hotels. I'd sort it out, pay them decent money, and they'd come down to a 4 day run because no one from London wants to come down for, 200 quid for one night. It's not going to happen. They need a decent run. And so I'd set up these gigs and do a decent run on it. And quite often, because you're booking names, they just drop out. They just say, I'm sorry, I've got TV work, I can't do it. But you'd be like 3 or 4 days before. And so then you're walking around trying to get that done. And then you deal with people ringing you and saying, oh, I paid to see such and such tonight. I know they're not going to be there. I want a refund. Okay, I'll deal with that. And then, it's just an absolute nightmare. And to have the last 6 months off from that has been lovely. It's like, I don't have to worry about booking hotels. I'm not worrying about venues, moaning about ticket sales, or acts worrying about how they're going to get here. Because some comedians, for some mad reason, are like, I booked that gig from London, but well, I've just seen it's in Minehead and I don't have a driving license. I just wonder how I can get there. Like I'm their mum. Like I'm going to be like, don't worry, darling. I'll come pick you up and run you around, shall I?
Yeah.
I do pick them up and run them around. But
not from London though, isn't it? It's mad.
Just like,
I've run nights in Swansea as well, and as well as Rough House, there's been paid gigs as well, just with a very small budget, but paid. And it just shocks me the amount of people that don't check. They just go, yeah, that'd be great, and then they don't check. And then the week before, they're like, oh, I didn't realise Swansea was like 3 hours from London. And you're like, oh my God, why didn't you check when you said yes, you knobhead? It's mad. But going back to
the festivals though, and because they're in the middle of a fucking field, not near a train station or anything, and they were just like, oh, I'm meant to be DJing in an hour, and I'm like an hour away. Do you know where you are? No. I'll send you a pin on WhatsApp.
Wait, did you have to pick the DJs, did you? No. Oh my God. That is stress.
Yeah. You take them to a hotel and you're like, could you just put the weed out for a second? You're standing next to somewhere like a Great Yarmouth and you're like, guys, please.
Mavis next door knows what you're doing. Her grandson doesn't stop.
Local neighbours all getting the munchies all at once.
Yeah.
I'm so hungry today.
There's never enough dinner, is there, Doris? No, dear.
I tell you what, going back to the gigs though, the hard gigs, the bad ones, you learn so much more, don't you, with the tough gigs than the ones that go really well, I think.
Yeah, well, it's like a two-hander thing, and like ones that go really well, you really wish you record them. I'm very grateful. Places like Top Secret Comedy, they record all your sets now, so then when you come home, they just send them to you, and then you can watch back. And sometimes throw in like a real killer line and real smash it. But then if you haven't recorded it, you will forget that. You'll come on stage and be like, what did I say that made them laugh that much? And then like the bad ones, you go, what did I say that made them want to beat the shit out of me and try did they record that? I want to see the recording of that one.
I read those ones as well. I'm like, well, I don't know what went wrong. I thought it was great. And I listen back, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot 3 punchlines. That's why that is.
I was a comedian once. I won't say his name because there's a bit of bad press about him at the moment. But I went to go and see him after a gig, and I can't say his name. And
chat function.
I went to see him after a gig. And this lady came up to us in a bar, and she said, I just want to tell you that I thought you were brilliant tonight. You were so funny. And this act was like, oh, thank you so much. And I've been sat chatting with him for about an hour. And so she was like, "You're brilliant," blah, blah, blah. And he was like, "Thanks, thanks." And then she went, "When that man got up on stage and headbutted you, it just really changed the vibe of the room. And I felt so sorry for you, but you handled it really well." And he went, "Oh, thank you." And then she walked off. And I looked at him and went, "A man headbutted you?" And he went, "Yeah." And I went, "How was that not the first thing you told me when I walked in the door?" Like, me on stage, you would know. I'm like, "Man, that's what happened to me tonight. A man headbutted me on stage." And he was like, "Just happens, doesn't it?" I went, "No, never on stage." Yeah, this guy was just like, "Yeah, it just happens." But
that says a lot about that. Actors like, yeah, it happens all the time.
Can I put it in there? Oh,
yeah.
When you see his name, you won't care that you got headbutted.
There was just recently in Detroit, a comedian got dragged off the stage.
Oh, really?
There was.
Sorry.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, I knew you'd say that. Yeah. Bad press for him. But yeah.
Hey, it's his first press by the sound of it as well.
Say again?
It was his first press as well.
So what happened in Detroit?
So in Detroit, there was a woman who was heckling, like proper special heckling.
Oh, okay.
And in the end, they were just like, "Can you?" The guy tried to use her in the set, and instead of just like being laughed at and fucking off, she kept going. So in the end, he was like, "Security, get her off."
Yeah.
So they took her out, and then her brother ran up to the stage, grabbed his leg, pulls him off the stage, and tries to bundle him because, I know brothers and sisters, it's always good to have your brother backing you up, but not when she's been the dick.
No, yeah.
My brother would have been like, "She's not with me."
You see who? Never heard of it.
Oh, people are messaging me privately on Facebook now going, "Mate, who's the comedian you're talking about?" Hello, you guys. All right. Jesus Christ.
I gotta say that's off my bucket list now, because when you hear podcasts like Stuart Goldsmith's podcast, when he's like they talking about someone, maybe once in a blue moon, you're like, I'd love to know who they're talking about.
Yeah, you
know that. I could put my smug face on now.
We did that with Jenny Collier, where we all had a different name, and the minute we sort of pressed end broadcast and we all said it at the same time, it was 3 different people.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I think it was, "Don't you find that guy really creepy?" Now we'll talk about it later. We went with the creepy guy. Funny enough, there was a wealth to choose from.
Yeah. It's not a good year for men in comedy, is it?
It is weird how many weirdos there is, and quite scary as well. Like I've booked like countless women and car shared with countless women on gigs, and like to think that at some point in their career that they've gone through an uncomfortable situation, in comedy. I mean, never with me, thankfully, but they might in the back of their mind think, "Well, I don't really know Luke." Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't really know this guy. I've car shared like Sally Ann Hayward for 4 hours to London and back. Do you know what I mean? And do you know what I like to do though is pull pranks on people I don't know. And one of them I did, I filled up a glass bottle, a vodka bottle with water. And then when they got in the car, I just started swigging it. Just to test them. And they never say anything. I just driving along like, yeah, it's a bloody long drive, this, mate. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and they're just like, yeah, cool, yeah.
I can safely say,
out on the comedy circuit, it's like what annoys me is the fact that the people that do it get rebooked. Like, how are promoters looking at it and going, "Oh, that's acceptable"? Like, if you did that in any workplace, you would be fired. You would not be back in that workplace. And the comedy industry is one massive workplace that we all need to look after and HR ourselves. Do you know what I mean? So if someone is a predator or, a bully or anything like that, they should just be wiped out. Like, they should just not be allowed. And anyone that is booking them should just be like ashamed of themselves, because I certainly won't book like the act I've named there. I just won't book him. Yeah. He said his name. Oh,
yeah.
I say that Daily Mail did that, so.
Yeah, as a woman, I'm not surprised there's lots of creepy guys in comedy, because there's lots of creepy guys in society. You know what I find sad, and luckily I've not had to do this. I've been really lucky. I think partly my age, because I'm over 40, and partly my weight. I'm a chunky monkey. So I think you know, I haven't I haven't had to deal with. I've had the odd thing, it's the odd comment, but as a woman growing up, you know, from the 70s on, you just deal with it. You know, there's a lot worse that's happened in the 1960s. But what I love is that young women now are like going, "This is crazy. We're not going to deal with this shit anymore." And I think it shocked me, because I thought, "Oh my God, all these years I've been like, oh yeah, you just deal with it, don't you? You just move on, you know." And then when you stop and go, "Oh God," you know, when someone new comes out of the woodwork, because there was one just the other day. Is it James Vetch or something? His name is in America.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, and like his star is rising because of was it a TED talk that went viral?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, all these women are coming out going, "Yeah, he's a creepy fucker." You know, it's just like, oh, every time, you know, the worst. Every time someone comes out, usually it just makes me pause and reflect, and it brings everything up. What I really hope is that it doesn't suddenly just become another one. Oh, okay, cool. You know, like
one, yeah. You don't want to it just happens. No, it doesn't just happen. Like there's so many people out there that I hate these people. It shouldn't just happen. You're right.
Yeah.
It was Dee Maxwell that made a really valid observation when she said, you're standing around in a group and one of the guys will be like, "Oh, Sarah, nice tits." And everyone laughs. Standard. If he doesn't get told that's not appropriate,
yes,
he thinks that's the gateway.
Yeah.
If everybody else chuckles at that one joke instead of someone going, "Mate, fucking wind it in, that's not on."
Yeah.
Then he thinks he's got that crowbar and that he can start.
Oh, this is okay.
Yeah, that must be fine.
There was a comedian on the circuit who used to make.
My mum's ringing me.
Your mum? Yeah,
my mum's ringing me.
Might be urgent. What time does chicken come out?
She won't be ringing me for that. She'll be like, "Have you eaten?" I better ring her back. Actually, shall I give it 2 minutes?
No, you're on the phone. Let's say you talk to your mum.
Right, you message your mum, text your mum. Luke, you tell us the story.
Sorry, I'm gonna mute myself.
I've muted her.
Come on, we wanted to hear you talk to your mum.
So there was a comedian on the circuit.
Your mum rings, you're like, I'm like, is someone in hospital? So it might not be good. It could be something bad. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure she's just like, "Are you coming over tomorrow?"
Be like, just down the road, she's bloody gonna make jam again.
I've already told my parents every week.
Jam pad, no one's buying jam anymore.
I've already told my parents every week for like 20 weeks. Thursday night I do a show, but one day they will notice. Sorry, guys.
I'm intrigued. Come on, Luke. What was the story? Come on, there's a guy on the circuit. Come back to us.
What was the guy on the circuit there? I can't remember.
The inappropriate joke, and then men think it's acceptable, and then you said there was.
Yeah, so there was a comedian on the circuit, and he used to make pedo jokes. And one day he was doing his set, and he came off stage, and all the other comedians just talked to him, right? And I'm just like, "Get away from me." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Just get away from me." I said, "If you think that's funny," I said, "Get away from me." He's like, "Mate, it's just a joke." I said, "No, it's not just a joke." I said, "It's a very real thing." I said that you can't make fun. He goes, "Well, isn't comedy supposed to?" I said, No. I said, "You don't get it." I said, "There's nothing funny about the subject you're joking about. Whatever you think you can say that's funny, there is nothing funny about that subject." And anyway, everybody turned on me. Everybody was like, "Luke, mate, he's a really nice guy. Why are you being so horrible?" I'm like, "Are you kidding? He's literally making the most disgusting jokes on stage." I'm supposed to stand there and go, "What a funny guy." Like, he wasn't even funny. None of what he said was funny. And yet I was the bad guy for pulling him up on it and saying you shouldn't.
There seems to be this instant reaction. If you question anything in comedy, the first reaction is, well, if you're too sensitive for that, then you shouldn't be in comedy.
Yeah, you're a snowflake.
Like somehow being in comedy, it's exactly like Russell Crowe in Gladiator. And if you're not that person, fucking get out of the auditorium, mate.
Oh, it's insane.
But it's because I mean I started in February, hit the ground running, did 14 gigs, then COVID happened, and then I went online, and I've done about 50 online gigs and about 60 of these kind of shows and stuff. I've just been prolific. Annoying to some people, prolific to me. Confident for me, overconfident to others. And I've been enjoying watching the forums of people who are really experienced. And it is a case of anyone challenging anyone, be it about the Me Too movement or inappropriate material. It's this instant reaction. Oh, well, if you're too sensitive, shouldn't be in comedy.
I know. It's
just a quash line.
All my jokes, I can't think of my jokes offending anybody. Like I just do observations of my own life. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing offensive that I say. But not that I think anyway. But I just think there's no point. Why are people so obsessed with offending people that much? Like, why would you upset someone that badly? Or if you were a victim of, something horrible, and someone jokes about that, not only does it trigger you, but then it just upsets you that people find that thing funny, and that's what's upsetting. And I think that's what they don't get when people make these really horrible jokes, about abuse. It's not funny, and so people just get triggered, people get upset, and then you have to compress your feelings about a subject because we don't want to hurt his feelings about his rubbish joke. It's so weird. Anyway, so I was everybody, he's on the Southwest comedy circuit. Everyone was like, one of my friends turned around to me and said, Luke, because of the way you were to that guy for making pedo jokes, I can't invite him to my birthday now because he's worried you're going to beat him up. And I was like, are you serious? I should be beating him up. Around the car park and you not going, well done, Luke, well done, mate, lovely.
Yeah.
So, what can you do?
It's weird, isn't it? That there's because in comedy there's no HR department. No. If there's, we would all be going to HR right now going, this is happening.
Yeah, excuse me, one of the departments hasn't paid me for 4 months, like shit like that. Like,
yes.
Promoters don't pay.
Yes.
I had to chat with one of these promoters in the Southwest, right? And he had a load of money over from a gig, and he owes Axe money all the time. So I got this money right in front of him, and I said, right, that's the money you've earned from tonight's gig, right? And he went, yeah. I went, no, it's not. I said, that's your headliner's money. That's your opener. There's your middle spot. There's the MC's money. Do you pay the tech guy? That's his money. Now, you see that money that's left over there? That's your money. That little pile there is your money. And some of that belongs to the tax man. So make sure you put that in the bank too. I was like, this is your money. I said, stop putting this money on your rent and not paying someone who's traveled 400 miles for 150 quid to then not be paid for 6 months. Like, it's just the way the circuit is with paying bad payers makes me sick. I've never, ever paid anyone late in the 9 years that I've run gigs. God, that sounds like a long time. But I've run gigs for 9 years. I never pay anyone late. I paid cash on the night or, backed within 4 days, just standard stuff. It's annoying. There's people out there take the mick. I
had one gig. It was, the venue were meant to pay, and on the night they were like, oh, you need to invoice this, where they always just it was only 110 quid. It wasn't like a massive amount of money. And I just had a funny feeling they were going to be a pain in the arse. So I just paid the act out of my own money. And sure enough, that venue just gave me a runaround for 4 months. But I couldn't, I'd rather just give the acts the money. I know a lot of venues, it's like, oh, it's 500, 600 quid for budget or more. But that's the risk you take when you put in a night on, I think, you know.
I've got a message that I sent to this promoter that was paying me late. And I'll show you. Does that work on the screen? It will do, yeah. I'll just show you this message, see what you think. You have to talk about amongst yourselves while I just...
We've had a message from Poodle Hat who says, I like to think of myself as cheeky but inoffensive. There are some dark topics that comedians can cover, but the darker the topic, the better the joke has to be. And as Luke says, with some topics, that's just impossible.
Yeah.
Luke was going to be such a guru.
A really good joke.
I've got to say, as well is that, isn't it always the way? It's never like the really good comedians that are about to go on to big things that do these offensive jokes. It's always the guys that have like, or girls that have just started, and usually men, but they've just started, and you're like, oh, did you really have to do that shitty pedo gag? Actually, it's just a sign of newbies.
I know that my friend absolutely adores Frankie Boyle, but I can't take to him. I find him too. Oh, bring it back. We're going emoji style.
So I've got his attention, hands above your head, hands across your chest, and a bat and a thinking thing. And then at the top it says, I have no idea
what that means.
And then it says, it's methods of protecting yourself when I come at you with my bat for late payment. I'm helping you / teaching you. And then the page straight away, Tim have done.
It shouldn't have to go to that, shouldn't it? It really shouldn't have to come to that. It's just so annoying. And imagine if you're relying on that to pay your bills.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's disgusting to behave that way to other people.
Like, especially because you've paid money to get to these gigs most of the time. You have a train ticket for, I don't know, 70, 80 quid or whatever it is now, or you've driven and paid for parking, and I've gone to gigs and got parking tickets. The gigs already cost me like 70 quid.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh great, I'm doing this for 120. So can't wait to take that 50 quid juice.
Yeah. Like before Jongleurs went under, they just owed people thousands, didn't they?
I was owed loads of money by Jongleurs, and it was really frustrating because I was very new. It was like 2013. I started in 2010. 2013, and I was like, this is like, I was like, I did their competition, Loaded Laughters, and came third for that. So off the back of that, they then gave me loads of gigs, and they were horrible though. Did you ever do Jongleurs?
No, I watched, and I was very pleased not to have to do it. I went to, when Ignacio was on in Bristol, I went a few times.
On the dock.
Yeah, that was a nice one. Yeah. But the Cardiff was just crazy. It was mental. I enjoyed it as a member of the, and I think the acts did as well, because it was that kind of thing. It was just a bit mad, really. Yeah. A bit like Late Live, I think. A bit just mental. But the one in Swansea, there was like a Jongleurs in Oceana in Swansea, and it was more that the place, it was a shed, really high ceilings, you know.
That Portsmouth, did you say?
Say again, sorry?
And did you say was that bad one?
The one in Swansea. They had a Jongleurs, but it was like, it wasn't a purpose-built comedy place. It was part of the nightclub there.
Yeah.
So really high ceilings, miles away from the stage. The stage was like 7 foot in the air. It was just, and the acts were amazing, but the audience was always really quiet, actually. And it's like, even laughter, the laughter just kind of went as far away as that to your face and just died. So it must have been really hard for the acts.
Portsmouth was the same. Portsmouth was in the back of Tiger, had really high ceilings. The room had no sort of atmosphere, and atmosphere really matters. You want that nice crowd. I like a good crowd, like a low ceiling, nice crowd. It's a really good feel, and I get a nice buzz out of that. Theatre rooms, I just don't. I don't like theatres that much. You've got that whole that massive distance between you and the audience, and it's a lot harder. You really have to appreciate, these acts that have made it and doing tours, just how good they are when they're making a whole room like that laugh and do so well out of it. They're good. Well, what got you into comedy, Sarah?
Say again?
What got you into comedy?
Oh, midlife crisis.
Oh, was it? Okay. Lucy, what got you into comedy?
Yeah.
I've actually always wanted to do it, but all of a sudden my stress of an unhappy relationship and unhappy job, sort of I left both within half an hour of each other, and then I was like, it's my time to be happy.
Yeah.
Like a mental breakdown.
Shit. That's the best time to do it.
Yeah, I'd always wanted to do it. I did when I was 18. I was 16, 17 actually. I was part of a drama group, and I was about a year older than the others, so I was often like asked to like look after them, even though they were only a year or two younger than me. And one day I went, right, we're going to do a comedy club, and I made them do comedy. I made them write. We didn't have a clue. This was like there was no internet back then, and I made them all write 5 minutes of comedy each. There's about 10 of them, and I had, and then we were in the Grand Theatre Swansea coffee shop, Footlights, on a Saturday afternoon. I just went on with a clipboard and went, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have comedy now. Number one, I just brought this guy out, and they all clearly died. And I just thought, yeah, and I was like, didn't have a clue what I was doing. And I just thought, oh, yeah, maybe I can't do comedy. That's technically my first comedy gig. And I think they're all still having counselling now as we speak, years later.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. But I really wanted to do comedy, but just didn't think I could do it. Then all the gigs were in London. I didn't really want to move to London. It's just mad how things have changed in 30 years, really.
Yeah.
I wish I had the guts.
How long have you been doing comedy for?
I've been doing it 11 years now.
I thought you said 30. I was like, man, how good do you look for your age? I started comedy in 1936, Luke, and I tell you what, the years have been great. I use Clinique, my mum's jam. I just rub it in.
Let's quickly deal with the message we've had from Poodle Hat. Luke, was it you or Graham Wilkes that threatened to tell a promoter's mum on him if he didn't pay up?
No, that must have been. That must have been Graham Wilkes. That must have been.
And what got you into comedy then? So we've shown you ours.
So I used to work behind a bar and used to make people laugh over the bar and stuff. And then afterwards, we'd have a lock-in in the pub, and so most of the staff would stay behind, and then some of customers would, and then I would just tell them stories of stuff like what we call stand-up now, but for me, just chatting and having a laugh. And then people used to laugh loads. And then one day there was a guy there who was like, someone who wanted to be a comedian and open mic and stuff. And he said I should be a comedian. And my friends were trying to convince me. So my mates got me to enter a competition called Southwest New Act of the Year. So that was in 2010. And then I went up to London for 3 days to meet up with one of my mates, Jimmy D, who was doing a bit of comedy. And so that was like my first time to have a go at it and see what it was like. And I didn't want to be a comedian. No, never in my life before that period had I ever thought of being a comedian. It was something that I saw on TV and was just like, wow, I've never been able to do that. And then right before I went up to London, one of my friends, Charlotte, she got me tickets to see Stephen K. Amos. So I went to go and watch that with my wife, Zoe. And the opening act for Stephen K. Amos was Sean Walsh. And that was the first time ever in my life that I'd seen a comedian and thought, oh my God, that's what I want to do. Just because he was talking about everyday stuff, like banging his head on the bus. And have you ever seen his first routine he did? He used to do a thing.
His DVD, his first DVD.
So his first routine, he used to do this thing where he would stand up and go like, when you bang your head on the bus, you have to look at what you banged your head on, even though you know it's the roof of the bus. You always look up, you always go like, oh, like that. He said that you have to, because you can't be the guy that gets up, bangs his head, and then just walks. And then he does like a right nutter. And so I watched him do this routine. I was like, wow, this is so funny. And so then I thought, yeah, go on, then I'll go up to London and have a go, and did these open mics, and they all went well. Didn't write anything, just went on stage and chatted like I was in the pub, and it went okay. And then when I did the competition, I won the semi-finals on the competition, and then I won the final on my fourth or fifth gig. And so then I was like, oh yeah, I'll give comedy a go. And then I didn't gig really. I did 11 gigs in my first year, from October 2010 to December 2011. I did about 11 gigs, and I was going to quit. I was just like, there's no point. Tom Glover started out literally the same time as me, and he'd done 70 gigs. James Alderson started out the same time as me, and he'd done 100. And I was just like, oh, there's no point in me doing this. But my wife was like, she thought I was funny. She was like, why don't you just start your own comedy night where you live, and then you can meet people and network. So I started Comedy on the Strand in Barnstable, which is a little cafe. It used to hold about 100 people. And straight away sold out. Like every month would sell out. And we had like Ramesh Ranganathan down, and Sean Walsh came down, and like, you know, really cool people came down and performed there. And so, yeah, that's how I really got into it. Like that sort of took off then. And after that, I think in 2012, when I finally went for it, that's when I came third in Loaded Laughters, or Laughing Horse. I did Laughing Horse, and then I did Loaded Laughters, and then 2013 is when it really took off. That was it. So yeah, 2013 was when I really went for it. Up until then, I'd done like, you've done more than me, Lucy, in my first year. Christ, gigs. I'm like, Jesus, man, I did 11 in a year. Like I didn't have the drive that you have now. I've got it now, but at the time I was just like, take it or leave it. I got a full-time job. I don't really need it. You know, I was happy just pottering along, really.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting though? Like everyone's different. I think I'm really glad you shared that, because, you know, I think people do a few gigs and then they think they have to take it seriously straight away. Yeah. And I think that can really curb creativity.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you see people and they're trying so hard, and I'm like, you can be creative. Like when I started, I mean, I get embarrassed sometimes because I've done it for like 11 years, and you could kind of see that's the first question any actor go, oh, how long have you been going then? You know, it's either that or, oh, how many gigs have you done then? Yeah. And when I say, oh yeah, because I can't lie, I should lie really and say, oh, I've done about 3 years. But because I can't lie, go, yeah, about 11 years. And they're like, oh, okay, thinking, you can see the clogs we're in, weren't you better, you know, why aren't you more successful?
People come around to you and they say, how many gigs you done? And when you've done like a year, you go, like 3 years, mate, 3 years, yeah, headlining everywhere, yeah, 3 yeyears. And then 10 years, and they go, how long have you been going? You got 2 months? Yeah, about 2 months. This is my second gig. Like, totally blagging it. Like, yeah, I'll just take it easy. Like when I first did Top Secret in London, obviously like nobody knows me. So I go to this club and there's all these acts that know each other and they're part of their own, like, it's like a family in London, really. They all know each other. I don't really know anyone. And then people like, you know, they were like talking to me, like giving me advice and stuff. And then I went on and did my proper stuff, and it went really well. And they were like, mate, wow, you did real well. I was like, oh no, it's unbelievable. But like, I've been obviously long enough.
Yeah.
Oh man, I frauded them.
But I did every type of comedy going. I did like you know, musical comedy. I did some weird stuff. You know, and now it's more observational kind of stuff. I just think I'm glad, because it is a creative thing, and we shouldn't forget that it's meant to be fun as well. You know, I think a lot of acts just take it a bit too seriously sometimes, get really stressed about it.
Yeah, you're right. I think when I first started out, I tried writing stuff that I thought people would find funny. So I used to, in the pub, talking to my friends, I would do just stories about my life, like just about my nan and my mum and stupid things, and people would laugh. And then when I did comedy, I was like, oh, I must make jokes. You know, I've got to make stand-up. And so I would go on stage and try and perform what I thought was comedy, and it just wouldn't go that well. And it wasn't until, you know, late 2012 when I started doing more stuff about myself, my weight gain, how people look at you when you're overweight. It's like my first stuff that really started going well was like how if I walked into Topshop, they'd look at me like, oh, are you shopping for a friend, sir? You know, that sort of people, and like the barriers you get outside the clothes shop, so they should just make them smaller so people like me can't go in and feel that, you know, like, oh, go sideways, mate, and you're like, no, it's not going to work. And so I did all that sort of material, and that was my first proper good laughs. And then I was like, do you know what? I need to make stuff about me. Like, people will only find what I find funny if it's really true. And so that's when I started doing stuff about parenting and relationships and, like, you know, silly things. I put on weight. My partner's actually very supportive. She never takes the mickey out of my weight. But for on stage, I'm like, oh yeah, I put on loads of weight recently, but she would never tell me. She has these cute little hints. Like, I bent over naked in front of her and she was like, ugh, it's just cute. It's just a real sweet cookie. You know what I mean? Yeah. More observational stuff like that. And then you get like the proper laughs. I think the fear of doing that kind of comedy is that, say for instance, you write a joke or you write a routine. There's got no emotional attachment whatsoever. You've just written something. No one laughs at it. You're a bit gutted, but there's no real disappointment. But if you tell a story that is a funny story to you and you have a connection with it and no one laughs, they're really not laughing at you.
It's more vulnerable. You're going to be more vulnerable to do that, isn't it?
Yeah. That's it.
Oh, do you think, can I just quickly ask, right? Because I think as well, like, I think it was like my third gig. I remember, because it was horrendous. It was in Clevedon, and like quite often the third gig is the third gig curse, isn't it? The first two go quite well, and then the third one you die in your ass, and that's a real sign of do you carry on or not. But I was told then, oh, you should enter a competition. And I think you see people in competitions and it's so slick and it's 5 minutes, and people like you and me, we like to chat. I like to go on stage and I love to chat to an audience, and I love to find, out about people and find the funny and what's going on in the room.
Yeah.
And I think there are so many competitions now, and I do worry. They don't seem to, really value being able to just talk. Not every act can do it either. And they don't seem to value that so much, do you think? Then in my opinion, they seem to value more, oh, you've got to be joke, which isn't my strength, to be honest. I'm always trying to work on that.
Yeah, so I totally understand that. And before, I said, must have been about 2014, I used to write a piece and it would take ages and ages and ages, and then there'd be the punchline. And I used to think that was all right. That's how you do it. And
yeah, me too.
I went to see Jill Edwards in Brighton, and she's this amazing comedy coach. I went in there, chest puffed out, really confident, good, I don't know, like hour of material, of rubbish, really. I walked out of there with just shy of 20 minutes.
Yeah.
She sat there and she made me write out what I was saying on stage. And then she was like, we don't need that word. We don't need this. We don't need that. And then just reduced everything I was saying. But what it meant was anything I was saying on stage had impact. Whatever I was saying, it was a little bit of a joke or a little bit of a laugh. It constantly needed to be getting laughter out the room. So if it wasn't, there was no point in saying it. Unless it's crucial to what you're trying to build up to, it just didn't matter. And for example, I used to talk about how my daughter goes to a posher school, and once I got mistaken as a bouncy castle owner when I was at one of the birthday parties. Now, to get to that punchline, I never fitted in at her school, and it was really embarrassing, and they used to all try and say hello to me. And then one day I got invited to a party, and I was going around a party and I couldn't talk to anyone. I went to the bouncy castle, and when I was at the bouncy castle, this man came up to me and said, oh, do you do a lot of these? Is it a busy time of year for you? And then I realized he thought I owned the bouncy castle. That was literally people laughed. It was okay. But when I saw Jill Edwards, she made me break down my material and find other bits in it. So what I did was I dug out that paperwork when I first met with her, and I restructured that joke. What happens when I go to school? Oh yeah, the parents do try and talk to me, but why is it awkward? Oh, because they're posh people and they always do that thing where they go like, yeah, and I always mimic them. And so I do that on stage, and that gets a laugh to take the mickey out of that. And then it links to going to the house, and how when I first went to one of the houses that my daughter goes to school at, one of the dads was like a proper, thoroughbred human, like, oh, hello, nose falling off and shit like that. And so like I took the mickey out of him, and then I take the mickey out of the whole situation. And when I get to the bouncy castle story, I've already had about 3 or 4 laughs before I've even got to my main punchline. Now, obviously, the risk is that by the time you get there, that punchline is not going to be as strong as anything you've said on the way. And so when I first did it, it wasn't. When I said I owned the bouncy castle, people just went, okay, because the other stuff was funnier. And when I did that live at a gig, I panicked and just went, oh, so I took a booking. And that got out straight away. And then I was like, oh, and then I took a deposit because I've been messed around before. And then suddenly I was able to make this really long joke with loads and loads of little punchlines out of what was just a really long story before. And so that's how I like if you're a storyteller, you just need to find all the tiny little laughs. So that's what she told me, like, break it down. Like, where can you find a laugh in this little section here? Oh, right, well, we'll put one in there. That's a laugh that you can get. And that's how you build on it. That's how I build it.
That's brilliant. Thanks for that, Luke. That's awesome.
I'm going to take on board. I've got a nice story that I want to do in my set, but it doesn't. I want it to be more than just a nice story, and I think using that, I think that's what I need to do. I'm going to rip that off.
It's Jill Edwards. Have you ever heard of her, the coach?
I haven't.
No.
Oh my God, she's amazing. So she runs the Comic Boom in Brighton, which is a comedy course that anyone can go on. There's loads of people. Angela Barnes did it. Jimmy Carr, Ramesh Ranganathan, Sean Walsh. Like they all did that course, and they also go and see her when they want to go up to Edinburgh and they want to like strip down everything they're doing. They'll go see Jill, and she can just go through it. She's a really good coach. She doesn't pull any punches, which is what you want out of a coach. You want someone to go, that's not funny. That's generic. That's been done 20 million times. You know, you need that, don't you? Because that way, when you go and do a proper show, you want to be the guy up there really killing it.
Yeah.
I started using Maggie Irvin from Exeter, and I know that Sarah's used her as well. And she's so brilliant because she'll find out what it is you're trying to achieve and push you 150 times more than you're like, oh, I'll tell this joke because it's funny. And she's like, push it further. What's funnier than that? Keep going. And I was like, I'm just doing a dick joke, Maggie. And she's like, make it a bigger dick.
It's not always the way. It took me years to discover editing. I was the same. And also I think I accepted, you know, I like just any laugh, you know, any little mediocre laugh. I'd be like, great. And I was never someone to go, stormed it. But I'd be like, oh, yeah, that was great. Lovely. And then I discovered editing because I just wanted, there's a local competition called the Welsh Unsigned Stand-Up Award. And I kept entering it out of spite in the end because I was like, I'd enter I think it was only 1 year I missed. But I entered every year and I'd get to the semi-finals every year apart from 1 year and then jump out. And they'd always say, you just need that killer punchline. You just need that killer. And every time I appeared at the Glee or, you know, auditioned at the Glee, they'd be the same thing. You just need that killer punchline. I didn't have a fucking clue what they were talking about. And then I realized the final time I entered, it was like, oh, you mean editing. They just said you need to edit your set, you know, so you can get more jokes in, which is what I did. And then I made it to the final, and then it hasn't been since. But
I'm very aware of the.
Sorry, go on.
You go again, Luke.
Have you ever heard what Boyle says when he's going to write material?
No.
He says, I'm just going to go write some sentences and then find some surprises to put on the end.
I like that.
Look at it. You take a story, get to the end, what's the twist, you know? And so that's what he does with his. I think that's really good how he does that.
I love that. Yeah, I've not heard that before. That's brilliant. That's exactly it, isn't it?
I'm very aware. I'm interrupting because I'm being mother, but I'm very aware that we've had Luke for an hour now, and he does, like he said, he has, you know, he has a woman that likes him and children that belong to him. But I will, before I let you go, Luke, first of all, I want to say thank you very much for letting me have that amazing opportunity on your pro bill. That was mind blowing to be able to say that, you know, I've been on the same stage as Scott Capuro on my 4th fucking gig.
Yeah. I
made sure I took a picture of the poster and I said to my friends, I sent it to all my course mates because we'd been told to watch him for our homework. And I said, oh yeah, I'm on with Karen Bailey, and then just sent the picture and just sort of went, the phone's that's going off. Oh my god! And I was like, yeah. Talking to him now. But I have to say as well, your ability to work the room in the Beam Bridge, it is a cracking crowd to the point where now you know their names. I mean, there's that family that always sit in the front. You know all about the daughter and the boyfriend.
Yeah. That's true.
And it's perfect if anyone's edgy when Luke says, "Where are you from?" and they don't answer, you're like, "It's Bridgewater, isn't it?
Bridgewater, we know it's you."
And I had 2 friends with me from Bridgewater, and they were squirming like this. And that's because you're common. That's because I can take the piss out of you.
Thanks for coming on, Luke.
Before you go anywhere, what is the name of your podcast, just so that we can give everybody?
Oh, it's a vlog. It's on YouTube. The Journeyman's Review.
Right, making a note. And also, Lucy normally asks this, but I'll just jump in as Lucy's typing it for us.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that you could recommend that we could ask to come on? And if you've had a good time, could you ask them to, well, let them know that we're not scary and that we are nice people.
Yeah, well, like Tom Glover, he's a good actor, isn't he?
Yeah. Yes. Write that down, Seb. Write that down.
Louis Burgess. Yeah, that's it. The Journeyman's Review podcast. But it's a vlog. I haven't put it on podcast yet, so I've just been doing the videos on YouTube. But it seems to be going well. We had Andy Costello on there. Have you seen him? He's a stand-up comedian, and he is a stand-up comedian, but he's actually like an ex-convict, ex-police officer, cage fighter, heavyweight boxer. Yeah, been to prison. Like, you know, he's got such an interesting life, and now he's a stand-up comedian. And so I interviewed him on my vlog just to talk about how his life went that way. So it's like, yeah, and he's a cool dude. Yeah, so check it out. Yeah, Journeyman.
Oh yeah, I'll check that out. Sounds really interesting.
Nice
and for everybody watching as well, Luke is on Twitter, and Luke has got his own comedy page on Facebook as well. Have you got your own website?
LukeHonnoraty.com.
Stay with me. Just stick a com on it.
It was just available.
Just Google Luke Honnoraty and it'll all come up, won't it? And I hope that's all that'll come up.
Yeah. Funny.
Oh, thanks so much, Luke. We really appreciate it.
I'll see you soon. Cheers.
Yeah, see you soon.
Darling.
Thanks, Luke.
Bye.
Take care. Bye. Oh, what a great.
Didn't I say he'd be nice?
How great is he?
I mean, I know that you know he's nice, and I know he's nice. But I said, didn't I say he'd be good?
Yeah, no argument for me. I always knew Luke would be great. Such a lovely guy. Great act. Great advice as well. Fantastic. I've made a few notes there. Got Jill Edwards, and I'll be checking her out as well. See if she'll come on the show.
Ooh. That. Big hello to Hugh. Hope you had a lovely day at work.
Oh, 7 till 7.
I know. He did terrible hours the other day as well, and I thought, fucking, you stayed up for the Lucy show. Fair play.
Like he hasn't suffered enough.
I know. He was a really good person. Your rep for good guests. Keep building. Oh, thank you very much, darling.
Please share, let everyone know about us and buy us a coffee.
Right.
It's
time for the review.
Yes.
So let me press the button.
Yeah.
So.
I saw otters in real life. So I post about it on Instagram because that's how you prove that life happened. And then this woman responds to me. My husband told me that otters rape baby seals. I just thought you should know. You don't know me. Maybe that's why I like otters. Kind of weird fairy tale animal sex happens in your head. No animals are asking for consent. How do you think your labradoodle was made? Did you think a lab just fell in love with a poodle? This wasn't Lady and the Tramp. This was 2 dogs, 1 cup. Man, this is fun. Jeez Louise.
Woo! Why have I gone so light all of a sudden? I think it's because it's dark now outside. It's changed my lighting a bit. Right. Now Poodle Hat has done his homework. Well done, Poodle Hat.
Yeah, well done. 5 points. For me, where have you been hiding this woman?
I know. Brilliant.
How many weeks in are we now? And we wasted that bloody time on what's his face, the Australian twat. What's his?
I know. She's amazing. Well, shall I tell you that a couple of years ago she was all over everything. She did I knew she was a writer for The Late Show and other American stuff. But she really came to light. She did the Correspondence Dinner, which is an American thing. And it was huge because I think Trump, it was his first year maybe or second year being president.
Oh, was that her? I know
That
the
was
story,
her.
but I didn't know the names to go with it.
Yeah, so for anyone that doesn't know, she was like, I mean, they don't have many women do the comedian spot or the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And I've heard her in podcasts since say, look, no comedian is keen to do it, but it's you know, it's a really good gig and it's always really well advertised, really. You get amazing publicity. And I, you know, so I knew about that story because she was all over, and I knew she had a Netflix sort of chat show, like a late night type show as well. So when the joke show came on, I don't know why. I don't know why. I was just like, I never thought, oh yeah, I really want to watch her. But by the time the joke show came around, I liked the trailer, and I just thought, oh, let's give this a go. And I was blown away, and I was like, oh my god, why haven't I watched her before? She is phenomenal. So having given that intro, I will let you go first because she was my suggestion, and we usually do that, don't we? So do you want to go first?
She goes straight into the Tiffany Haddish category of punch you in the face. Which, for those of you, if you're a new viewer, that doesn't mean that we think the comedian's going to punch you in the face. Is that her material comes out and she's just like, all right, it's some fucking comedy. Bang!
No bells or whistles, is there?
I won't lie. The woman, I mean, I have been told that my voice can grate even Satan nerves, but sometimes her voice was never one tone. Her voice goes sort of husky, high pitch. It's a very variable tone. Sometimes it did like go on a bit, but oh my god! I mean, she's edgy. She pushes the envelope without making it obvious that she's just what's shocky. I mean, her material about men having periods, brava. Yeah. I mean, so last week we had Victoria Wood, who mentioned periods quite a lot, considering it was 1986. And it was mainstream TV. And then you've got Michelle doing it on a Netflix special and making it funny. So it's not just like, oh, women are doing jokes about periods. Yeah. But I liked the way that she got the message across. Women are too quiet about the things that we shouldn't be quiet about. And the idea of like having, you know, Captain America tampon for boys, because if they were you know, I'm dropping flesh out of the hole is how men would discuss it. I thought she was refreshing, lively, entertaining, enthralling, inspiring. Bravo, Bridgman.
Yay! I'm so glad. There was with Maria Bamford. There was a little bit of will she like it? Michelle Wolf. I'm like, no two ways about it. You know, you will love her. She's just fucking amazing because no bells or whistles. There's no, you know, it's literally she just comes on stage and starts. I know her first joke. I know we were talking about dodgy jokes with Luke, but her first joke is a rape joke and it's fucking funny because it's hilarious, and she does joke after joke after joke with about rape and all, but not rape animal. I just watch it.
How do you approach it? It's not like it's not the rape that we care about.
No, it is fearless. She is fearless. Her jokes are lean. You know, talking about editing, there's no conversational style. They're all joke, and they are lean. They've got less
like Victoria Wood. I'm going to interrupt. Like Victoria Wood, what wouldn't necessarily be a punchline is a punchline with her because of her deliverance. Whereas Tiffany is always, I feel, she's always very good at, she's delivering and she's got everything's a snappy wordplay. She is absolutely brilliant. Yeah. But with Victoria Wood, like I said last week, how she said, went to town, tried some shoes on, ate some salad. That's not a joke. But the way she did it in her delivery makes you cry with laughter. And the same with Michelle. What not necessarily would seem like a punchline, she just looks at the audience and goes, and everybody's crying.
Yeah. But she's very placed. You know, she's very structured on stage. She's not just wandering around. She is very placed. She's very, and like, you say about comedians, are they observational? Are they satire? She's everything. She's all of that and the above. It's so that hour just absolutely flies by. And her wording, like one of her wordings, it was when she's talking about the storms and stuff, and she says, "Oh, we don't say Florida was kissed with wind by God." What great words, for that, for to say a storm, and like when she's saying, "Oh, if men had periods," she's like, "I don't think we'd be very nice. We'd be like, get in the shed, Karen. You're very leaky. You're very leaky today. Get in the shed." And I'm like, "Oh my God, we absolutely would," because women would be like, "You are not getting blood
Stay
everywhere
away
on
from my sofa. Stay the fuck away from my sofa. I cannot trust you to make tea.
Yeah,
you are not leaving me in my upholstery."
And she's like, going, how often? We'd be like, "So when did you last?" We'd be looking after.
When did you last change your tampon?
3 years ago. You just gotta watch it. It's just so well observed. It's well written. It's well performed. It's absolute top notch.
I don't know how I knew of a woman that did The Correspondence, so I knew that story.
Yeah.
But she's never crossed my path, and I find it quite surreal that with my algorithm on Netflix, I watch a lot of comedy. No shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
And yet, even if you type in stand-up comedy, you'll get 6 suggestions. And even though somebody could have a title called, I don't know, like Sarah Bridgman stand-up comedy special, that won't come up. Like if you click on that and then you click more like this, the stuff that comes up is not the list. There is when you give me these suggestions and I find them on Netflix, then they come up. But just by going comedy or putting another comedian in, hoping for more like that to come up, it doesn't. I don't know why they're restricting their own products from being enjoyed.
Yeah, I don't know either. I mean, I had Chris D'Elia, of all people, before all the stuff that came out about him, and I managed 5. I normally watch any show, even if I think, well, it's not for me. I will give it I'll keep watching it anyway, because I'm so interested in the craft. But he was just so shit anyway. I was just like, "Oh, this is fucking right." It was like watching, middle spot on, a middle of the week show. I was like, how has this man got a special? It's awful. But I will say with Michelle Wolf, I mean, I watched Joke Show and I was like, I have to watch everything she's ever done. I have to watch it. I've got to say, I think that is her best special.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what her other ones are. I've got it on Google. And it might be it might be that one. I've watched it before, obviously, but today I didn't get the opportunity to watch it all the way through again, but because I had to write our intro then. But let's have a look. Let's just have a look, see what other ones there are of hers. But I think she's amazing, and if she was a bloke, she'd have even more out there.
Oh, she'd on her own. She'd be up there with Michael McIntyre. She's
Jimmy Carr. She reminds me a bit of, to be honest.
Fast, punchy, succinct persona, energy. I absolutely adored her. I can't thank you enough for bringing this woman into my life, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And because I was watching it for homework, and my week's been quite busy, I was watching 10 minutes here and then 5 minutes there and then 15 minutes there. So I will actually go back and I'm going to watch that uninterrupted.
Yes, good.
You know how it is. The thing is, there will be times that you and I could sit in front of the TV with absolutely nothing to achieve, and we can watch loads of things. And the minute you have to watch something by a certain time, no time can pass your life. No free time. No free time for me. And it was like my mum walked in the room and there's this woman shouting about otter rape. And I'm like, I'll be there in a minute.
The other show that I absolutely loved of hers is Nice Lady, and I think you'd love it. Nice Lady is the name of the show. But I think it's only I don't think I watched it. We'll check it out. I'll bring it up on Netflix now and see if it comes up. But I think I listened to it, because I listen to a lot of my comedy when I'm driving, because I've got Google Play. So it might have been on Google Play only. So, but she's amazing. I just love her so much. But Nice Lady, when you love something, you think, I love this, I'm gonna try and find everything possible. So I watched Joke Show first, and then it was Nice Lady. Yeah, it's not on Netflix, so I think I just listened to it on Google Play. But I might even look.
The only thing is, I'm not a big fan of like. And I know this is me being absolutely pointless. This is an opinion that, trust me, if Michelle Wolf hears about, she won't even blink, right? And right, J-Lo did this when she had, like Timberland boots.
Yes.
Right, she had them made into sort of high heels.
Yeah.
So Michelle had trainers that were made into high heels, and I was like, she kept walking around and my eyes kept going to her shoes.
I wrote down, because I sat down and, right, come on, you're going to watch Michelle, because I tend to sit down with pen and paper, so I know what I'm going to write about the show.
Yeah.
Luckily, I know that there's not much really to talk about in terms of, the stage craft, because when you watch the first few minutes, that's pretty much her all the way through, isn't it? It's just, she's on stage, she's walking, there's no like dancing or anything like that. And my first thing I wrote down was shoes. I loved her shoes, and I didn't say it because I thought I don't want us to talk about what she looks like. But her shoes
I've
got it.
I'll bring us down.
Bloody women, that's what I talk about, is what they look like.
Return of Shoe of the Week, don't start. That was a feature that I regretted as soon as I started it. Who would have thought I'd have done Shoe of the Week on my show for 17 fucking weeks?
Oh my god. But yeah, I loved her shoes. I thought they were amazing.
Yes. And before, in case, right, I ignored this a little bit, but yes, loving the backdrop, Sarah. This is Hugh making up for last week's. This is Hugh making up for last week's destruction that he caused. And the reason why I'm giving you special props for this, Hugh, is because you didn't mention that her pictures are crooked. I haven't either, because I thought she was going to fuck off and straighten them.
They're as good as I can get them, so they're not gonna get any straighter. They're like that. But someone who rented my room for a year put those nails in the wall. That's why they're so. That's. And I went, right, I'm gonna put some pictures in there then. That's why awful. Yep. That's not all she did. She did terrible painting as well, so that's why I had to repaint it.
So it's my turn to recommend next week, yes?
Yeah? Ooh, right. Let me guess. Is it going to be something from the 70s or 80s? Is it going to be a TV show? I love all your suggestions as well, because they're all different. Who is it going to be? Is it Morecambe and Wise? I'm only teasing. I know you so well. I know you so well.
Right, okay. So
good, a good one.
Reason why this one is one of my favorite specials is because I've got opinions regarding the behavior and standards of stand-up comedians during the early 90s and the way that they treated the veteran comedians. So you had your sort of Alexi Sale and your Tony Slattery and like the Ben Eltons and all that.
Mary Whitehouse experience.
The Mary Whitehouse experience and stuff, and the way that they talked about and disrespected the old guard of comedy on that way, I felt, and I was only like in my early teens as well. I didn't like it. You could see it in all the interviews on the TV, the way they did their stand up and they'd rip into it. And if you can only make a comedy set about punching down on someone, maybe you shouldn't be a comedian.
Yeah.
And the reason why this is so amazing is because if you watch this, just like with an audience to Victoria Wood, you look in the audience of this, and it is every alternative UK comedian of that time with their mouths open. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it there.
Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Yes, I'm really glad you suggested Bob Monkhouse, because he's a phenomenal writer, and
so much to discuss about him.
Yeah, I think I listened to an interview of his, and so I know a little bit about his early life and when he first got into comedy and how he, and his work ethic. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, but Harry Ray, Bob was exemplar, but it was more like Bob Monkhouse and Des O'Connor, and of that ilk that they were punching down on. Fair enough, Bernard Manning, yes, but just because there was one old guard that wasn't, you can't just blanket sweep an entire generation of comedy that paved their way.
Yeah,
and especially as I thought all men like to help all men out.
Hashtag not all men.
Yeah, exactly. You know, where was your brotherhood then?
Yeah.
But no, I absolutely and yes. So I'm very excited. And any excuse to watch it again. It's only been about 5 months since I last saw it.
Where can we find it? Is it on YouTube?
Oh look. It's there. I've put the link in the chat for everybody.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Because I am that good. All you have to do is you put in Bob Monkhouse, The Last Stand, into YouTube. It's up, and it's 59 minutes long, and it's got no adverts or anything like that. It's a straightforward special on YouTube. Boom.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Sarah's going to suggest an old comedy, and I'm going to be like, "Oh, have you heard of this new act?" But that will be many years to come.
Well, actually, I was thinking the next one might be something like a sitcom, maybe. I don't know. Just to change it up a bit.
I love it. And you know what, people, right? Even though Sarah and I talk about our spreadsheet that we have, we don't put stuff on there because we don't tell each other this until we get to this bit.
I like the surprise, actually. So I did put up a couple, but I'm not putting it up anymore.
No.
I like the surprise. So I'm going to see if I can surprise you. That's in 2 weeks' time.
Yes. So, Sarah, I want to congratulate you on your first ever gig in COVID times.
Yeah.
I want to thank you as well for all the attention and hand holding and whinging and bitching that you had to put up with me doing it wasn't my first competition because obviously I didn't get the funny women. I didn't get through the heats. It's my second competition that I entered. So thank you so much for all your support and your guidance and your help and you just being an absolute legend.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I just it's hard, it's nice to be there for somebody, it's and I think the hardest thing with comedy is at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I think, it only matters what do you think. Really, that's the hardest thing. Yeah, you just go get through it.
Hugh, quick question. What are your views on Spitting Image returning? It did actually return. I think it was called something like Newsoids. It came back quite recently. I believe that puppetry and satire belong hand in hand. And it's the reason why we are better than every other nation, because we can sit down as a nation on a Saturday night and watch a puppet take the piss out of the way that the country's run, and we all join in. And in fact, Spitting Image was so important during the 80s. If you didn't have a character on Spitting Image, you didn't exist.
Here's my view. Apparently, unfortunately, I think it did. I mean, it ruined some people's careers. Like, they did a song. Oh, it was really funny.
John Major and the Grey one.
Yeah, but also pop people, because there was the ladder is fantastic, Clyde.
Yeah.
That is brilliant. That's a really good suggestion for each one. No, remember at the time it was Simply Red and Lisa Stansfield, and they all sang like soul singers. There was a piss take parody on Spitting Image, and it was like they just went overnight, all those soul singers, and I quite like that kind of music. So it had a really strong sway, and apparently Margaret Thatcher liked it because it made her look really strong. They thought, oh, we're going to make her look like she's a bloke and wearing a suit and everything, but she really liked it because it made her seem stronger than she was. So I don't know, I think it can be influential. I couldn't ever sit through a whole program, to be honest. I used to watch bits and pieces. I did find it funny, but I did struggle to sit through a whole thing.
They came back, I think it was ITV, and they did Newsoids. but because it's a really shit title, I think it suffered from bad title, and everyone was like, "What the fuck is this next?"
Yeah.
So they need, if you're going to do Spitting Image, it's got to be called Spitting Image.
Call it Spitting Image, isn't it? But I personally, it's not my cup of tea. But bits and pieces of it I really liked.
And
I
obviously
thought
it was
phenomenal.
It was a full cast of male comedians doing the voices, because obviously it was the 80s. But a big round of applause to Kate Robbins for all the voices that she did, and the powerhouse that is Kate Robbins representing the females for Spitting Image. I mean, she's
amazing. Which reminds me, Hayden Pace. Remember Hayden Pace? They were huge.
I loved Hayden Pace.
They were massive. And they disappeared.
Well, one's accountant now, I think. They're both well. They're both healthy. They were in something really recently where they sort of walked in and stood there, and everybody was like, who the fuck is that? They wrecked David Steele because he was shown as a pocket puppet of David Owen.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have written it if he wasn't.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to make a joke out of somebody doing something that they're not. But yes, Hayden Pace. I mean, they were so.
They were huge.
They were huge.
They were like the Peter Kay of their time, weren't they? Really? Remember at the height of his fame, they were just massive, and then they disappeared. I think one of them tried to go into acting a bit, but that's definitely one for the future. Someone to have a little think about. Okay.
I'm trying to think what I'm looking at, because I remember they were somewhere recently, and I'll have a look. We'll have it for the next week. If you're all very lucky, we might even put Stonk on for you.
Yay! Do you remember the Spitting Image song? I love the Spitting Image song.
Never Met a Nice South African, and you've got the chicken song.
The chicken song.
I was the one that got to tell my South African friend about. She went, "Why does everyone keep saying they've never met a nice South African?" And I was like, Did you ever hear a song called this? And she was like, no. So I played it to her, and she was like, well, it wasn't famous, was it? And I went, #1 for about a month and a half.
I listened to many a junior school disco dance along to the chicken song.
Oh, throw your chicken in the air. I even remember one of my earliest memories in pre-prep when I was about 4 or 5. I remember that song coming out and us all singing it in the playgrounds.
I'm sure I would remember many of the words. Maybe not all of them, but
maybe not all of them. No, right. I'm gonna have to head off as well as Sarah, because otherwise, I know what we're like. We're gonna sit here gabbing for hours. But
should we play the intro again? Because I don't think many people saw it. I was going to
play the intro again because it's so good. But what I wanted to tell everybody is next week at 6 p.m. we have the returning First Lady of Bristol. And it's going to be a little bit more adult, because we're going to have a glass of wine all together. So please, if you are of the ilk that drinks, please do charge your glasses for next week's show, because Louise said she'll have hit some sort of writing target, and therefore she will be rewarding herself. So the amazing, the fabulous Louise Lee is coming back to the kitchen sink, and we are so we're a little bit fucking lucky, aren't we?
Oh, we're so lucky. She's such an amazing guest the first time round. We're really lucky that she's coming back. I'm so pleased.
It means we didn't annoy her. Yay!
Woo! Yes, add booze to the shopping list, right? Yeah. I will too, because I don't really have any booze here, apart from a massive bottle of Prosecco that I got for a birthday. I can't open that. I can't drink that all on my own. It's like that. It's like, I have to open it.
Well, I mean, I'm sort of alcohol like rats for me. I'm never really 3 meters away from it.
Right, come on. Let's say goodnight.
Hang on. Right, so everybody, I want you to pay attention to the amazing work that was done by Ms. Bridgman. Right, let me just take... we've got to put that on there. Right, and then right, there we go. Now everybody look at our titles. Go.
Welcome to the kitchen sink. We will chat, we will make you think. You will not want to go to the loo. You could miss a lot if you had that poo. Stay and watch and join in. Yeah. Yay!
Hey! Bye, everybody.